Welcome back to the Prize Picks Show here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Alex Dunlap with Jason Sukamel, Chad Hastings, and Anwar Richardson here as Jeff Ketchum is unfortunately unable to be with us. He's fallen prey to some kind of sickness bug, so we'll wish him the best. But boys, glad to be back here. Always a good time when we can get together, huddle up, and talk about how we're going to make some cash over on Prize Picks. Of course, you can use the promo code Orange Bloods. Play $5, get $50 instantly, and that's on top of some of the other things that Prize Picks has every week as far as these awesome freebies. There's always free NFL, plays, or I guess that they don't want us to call them free because it's technically you have to throw for over half a yard or something like that, but you can take the higher and it's going to hit for you. So also tomorrow will be Flex Friday to where you can have a free entry and a free chance to up to 25x your cash. So
you know how great Prize Picks is, Alex. Sorry to cut you off, but Taco Tuesday. I guess this week was National Taco Day. I don't know, but they gave 4 discounted taco plays. They all hit.
There you go.
Yesterday, I don't even know what this is, guys, but there's LOL is some kind. I guess that's like online gaming.
The gamer.
Yeah, they had
League of Legends.
League of Legends. Okay. I don't even know what that is, but they had a discounted League of Legends play. This guy played it. So I don't know what the hell it means. Some map killed or something. I don't know. I see a discounted play, Prize Picks. I'm on it, man. So that one actually pushed. So I actually still won a little bit of money on.
Do you remember during the month of August when every Wednesday they would give you a free $50 play for League of Legends and Call of Duty? And that's the only reason I know what LOL and COD.
I didn't know what any of it meant. But I played every damn one of them out.
So always free stuff over there at Prize Picks, man. They're great. They're great partners, man, and we love working with them. So remember, use promo code Orange Bloods, play $5, get $50. It's the best sign up bonus that there is out there in the whole industry. Okay, so guys, we're going to talk about some of our favorite plays for this weekend. Some good college football games, some very intriguing NFL games. But first, let's talk a little bit about Texas and the old Jeff Ketchum. Sort of where's your head at coming into the bye week? We know Anwar had the reporting that Quinn Ewers back practicing. He's going to play versus OU. So what do you think about that? What are you expecting? For us to sort of see with his return, any kind of rust? You think he's going to be right back into form? Anwar, since you're the one who had the original report, I guess I'll throw to you, brother. Like, what are you expecting to see out of Quinn, and just general thoughts about the team?
It's interesting because we've got the unfortunate annual Quinn coming back from an injury stat kind of thing, which is probably not what you really want. Like, you don't want to be like, hey, you know what? When this guy gets injured, let me tell you what happens.
That good.
It's like, we probably got to get past that at some point. I think most Texas fans, though, are hoping that is reminiscent of 49-0. It's interesting, though, because Oklahoma, and you might have watched them, statistically, they're just not that good. And they're kind of bad in just about every category. But I think Quinn coming back, being 100% healthy, I tell you what will happen next week, Alex. I will finally play Gunnar Helm again because the arch is cold, but man, if I'm Gunnar, I'm like, man, I sure miss my quarterback, right? So I think that'll be an uptick for him come next week. Obviously, for this offense as well. I think. The thing that has been hard with Arch, Alex, is just figuring out who his guys are. So the Matthew Goldens, who we thought was really effective beforehand, and all of a sudden we didn't see him as much, or the Gunnar Helms and stuff. So I think Quinn coming back from a Prize Picks perspective, some of our old faithfuls that we were hitting on, we actually get to hit on those guys again.
Jason, what do you think, man? And can I just ask you just something that's been on my mind? I talked about yesterday. What did you think about Jaden Blue in the last game, and will that carry over? Do you think it was an overreach? I mean, did he just get benched? I mean, I guess he got benched. So Jason, I don't know if you have thoughts on Blue, just what we can expect of him in his first game back from kind of seemed like a pretty tough outing.
Yeah, it was. Omar, great point on Gunnar Helm. That's a definitely one we'll be looking out for the more when
Thank
with
God.
Quinn being back. And I wonder if PrizePicks will adjust Quinn's numbers.
Mm.
Well, I don't know what if coming off injury, are they going to maybe take 10 yards off of, I wonder, that'll be interesting to see what numbers they have for Quinn in his first game back. Alex, good question on Jaden Blue, because he has the fumbles, right? 2 fumbles last week. He gets benched. I don't think he played after that second one. I mean, you probably charted it, but I don't think he
No, he
did.
didn't. Well, I just know he didn't play the rest. I couldn't remember whether it was exactly after. It had to be exactly after that
I think it
fumble. But
was.
yes, he didn't play again.
So he didn't play basically the whole second half. I mean, he played
Yes.
one carry in the second half. Now, Sark on Monday didn't seem too worried about it. He said, physical errors are going to happen, and that's true to some degree, but I guarantee that's something they're working on moving forward. You can't have those kind of issues, probably not against Oklahoma, certainly not against Georgia. So they've got to get that cleaned up. Coming out of that game last weekend, I was like, okay, is it running back 1 and 1A with him and Trey Wisner? Some people in our post-game show chat, if you remember, were like saying, Trey Wisner, running back number 1, he should be the starter. Just listening to Sark on Monday, I still think he has faith in Jaden Blue. I don't think we're going to see necessarily a depleted carries for him, but I don't know. We'll find out on next Saturday. And obviously, if he goes out there and coughs it up against Oklahoma, well, then it's a real problem. Then Trey Wisner just might be your running back number 1. But Sark did go out of his way, I thought, on Monday at his press conference to kind of just praise Jaden Blue a little bit.
Well, all I can tell you is check out the War Room tonight.
All right.
I've got the details on that and what that may look like going forward. If I was you, if you haven't signed up for Orange Buzz, you better sign up. I got some good gossip. Got some good news.
We'll tell.
I can't.
Put
it out before the War Room.
Alex is like,
before the War Room.
text me right now.
All right. So maybe let me ask you, Chad. Let me ask you, if they put next week, if they put Trey Wisner at something like 39.5 rushing yards, what would you think about that?
Oh, that would be tough, Alex. I would say I might stay away from Wisner in that game. I'm going to believe that Blue is the guy. Now, I would have given him a carry in that game. After the second fumble, I would have said, you're my guy, Blue. You're my boy, Blue. Hand him the ball again, because I don't want his next carry to be in Dallas. Now his next carry is in Dallas in front of all of that. I wouldn't have done it that way. I would have done what he did with Jonte Cook. Jonte Cook dropped the ball. Everybody's heart dropped. Everything stopped. It affects teams, media, everything when a guy drops a ball that easy. What did he do? He put him in on, I think, the very next drive, and he got a catch. And then you kind of, okay, all right, moving on. Because we all believe, I think, that Jonte, even though there doesn't seem to be one guy on this team because there's so many damn good receivers, he'll be one of the guys that contributes. I was surprised to see Blue not get another carry. But, Alex, I would kind of stay away from Wisner unless I really got a number I liked. You said, what, 39, like 40 yards?
Yeah.
That one I might take. Maybe I go, if it's 40 around there, maybe. Because I do feel like a lot of people do. I feel like this is a Texas over Oklahoma in a pretty definitive way, because Oklahoma's inability to move the football is what would concern me if I'm a Sooner fan. That defense, I think, is going to put up a fight for a little bit, and then I think they're going to get worn down in the Dallas sun. I think they are going to have a tough time going 3-4 quarters.
I have a really strong opinion on Trey Wisner's number, and I'll give it to you after I read Anwar's War Room.
That's fair. Yeah, that should have been my answer. Let me read what Anwar is talking about first.
Let's just go around. Jason, Anwar, and Chad. Just hear from each of you. You're expecting Quinn to be at what operating at what percent in this game?
Oh, you're going to be first. Sorry. I mean, I'm expecting to be at a darn near 100%. I mean, we've heard he's getting first team reps this week. Anwar reported on, what was it, Tuesday, Anwar, that he's going to be starting. He's healthy. He's getting all the reps. So, I don't really expect any limitations. I mean, I think they'll take it easy on him leading up to that game, but I think when he's in the game, you let him rip.
Yeah, I think it'll be as close to 100% as you can be. I mean, I think last week he was in the 70s, and that was before the bye week. And so, I think they're very careful with Quinn that they won't rush him back until they feel like he's fully operational. And they didn't have to rush him back because they had Arch as to get filled in against 2 teams plus the bye week. So I think he'll be as close to 100% as you can be, 5-6 games into the season.
Chad?
Alex, I think he's going to be 95% ready to go. And then when he gets to Dallas and he sees those no good Sooner fans and he feels the energy of the stadium, the other 5% kicks in. He'll be at 100% ready to go. I can't imagine that he's not going to be ready for this game. The timing was perfect when you consider the injury. Not that I know the specifics of the injury, but the injury itself plus the time now he's gotten, I can't imagine he's not completely ready to go.
My one wish for prize picks that I see for NFL, but I rarely check it for college, so I don't know. Maybe Jason knows this. Jason, do you ever see numbers for tackles or sacks or anything like that on the college side?
I don't think they do it, Alex. I play on the NFL, but I don't think they do. You see interceptions, but I've never seen tackles or sacks or anything on college players.
Okay, because if there was, just the lock of all locks is Colin Simmons going back to Dallas and getting a sack in this football game.
In fact, the interceptions is usually quarterbacks throwing interceptions. Yes, they don't do defensive stats in college that I've seen, but definitely in the NFL. Yeah.
So we're clearly going to be watching all the other college action this week. We got a bunch of SEC games. Chad,
yes, sir.
You've probably looked more than most of us into Missouri coming down to A&M. I can't believe that Missouri is actually the underdog in that matchup. A&M's favored by 2.5 points at home. So obviously, Prize Picks isn't gambling. It's daily fantasy sports, but we can take from the sports books that they think this is going to be a close game, back and forth. Do you have any thoughts about how this game's going to go, and maybe insights that could help us make some of the correct picks here on Prize Picks?
I think the reason the line is the way it is because it's in College Station. I think if it was in Missouri, I think they would probably turn that around. It feels like one of those games where you give a little field goal advantage to the home team. But I'm with you. I'm with you, Alex.
You're evenly matched.
What's that?
You think these teams are evenly matched, and so where the home field advantage should count for 3? Like you think on a neutral field, it would be a pick 'em?
Right now, I kind of do because I don't think either team has really proven a lot. So based on the schedule they've each had and what they've done, I don't know how much I can believe in either one of them. Like I think people are overcooking. Some people are overcooking that A&M beat Florida and beat Arkansas. Okay, they won the games. But if you watch those games, it was like, oh, okay. But you don't feel like, man, this is Michigan's run game from last year. Holy hell, have you seen the Aggies run? It's not quite that. But then on the Missouri side, Alex, I think the reason they're not the favorite is look what they've done with the schedule before that bye week. They went barely against BC, and then they had to go double overtime to beat Vandy. And I think that was at home. Maybe it was in Nashville.
I think it was in Missouri, I believe. I
think it was too, but I might be mixing it up with Ole Miss, who just screwed up at home. So I think that's sort of what brings it down. I'm fascinated by this game. I'm going to be at this game. And the two guys, to me, if you're looking for Prize Pick stuff, go look up Le'Veon Moss for A&M and go look up Burden for Missouri. Burden is the only Missouri player to catch a touchdown. I'm going to say that again. Burden is the only Missouri player to catch a touchdown. He has 4. No one else has any. Weiss has more yards. Weiss has more catches. But it's Burden that they go to for touchdowns. So if that plays out, go find you a Luther Burden. See if you can find you, if you get one of those Prize Picks that gives you the 0.5, a receiving, I'm assuming they'll go to 1.5 with him. But if you could get you a 0.5, I might lock that in because no matter what happens, I'm assuming Burden will catch a touchdown in this game. And then on the other side, Alex, it's about Le'Veon Moss for A&M. That's the weapon on offense. He had 80 yards in the fourth quarter against Arkansas. They don't win the game without him. He might be the running back they've finally been looking for. So I'd look for so I looked at Le'Veon Moss. What's the number? You can go
7.5.
7.5.
67.5 is the normal. If you want to go Green Goblin, it's 49.5. If you want to go Devil, it's 89.5. I'm not quite sure I'd go as high as that 90, fellas. But one of those other two numbers might be realistic. Number 8 for A&M, Moss. That's their weapon on offense right now.
His last 5 games, Notre Dame 70, and then he went 84, 110, 90, and 117. He went 110 against Florida, 117 against Arkansas. I might try that devil one for the 90 and see if I can boost my payout. That seems like pretty good odds.
They're going to give him the ball. It was a little bit of a mix between him and Daniels for a little while. Obviously, they lost Owens, but if you've watched this team play, Anwar, it's about Moss. And he's now finally becoming – I've been waiting for one of those 3 guys to stick his head up above the water and go, hey, I'm your running back. Because it's one of those things, it's almost like Texas fans have that same feeling of a committee feels weird at running back sometimes. You want a guy. You want a guy you can absolutely count on. I think Moss is becoming that for A&M.
And they're going to want to run the ball to keep that Missouri offense off the field. So he's going to get his carries. That's I like that play.
Yeah. So
normally on Aggies, I always take the under, Chad, especially on the offensive guys. They usually have pretty good success. But
well, I mean, defensive-minded head coach, the offensive coordinator that does not nobody confuses for Lane Kiffin or Mike Leach. Mm-hmm. So the under and their defense is pretty good. Here's my only concern, guys, about the Aggie defense. They will give up weird chunks, just bizarre chunks. I don't know if you saw the Arkansas game. 3 plays in, dude was in the end zone. 3 plays, big, long pass play. They have given up 4 touchdowns of 40 yards or more this year.
Do you like Luther Burden for higher than 22.5 for his longest reception?
Ooh. See,
28.5, Alex. I'm showing 28.5.
Oh, I thought I said 22. I'm sorry.
I can't believe that stat that he has their only touchdown because they still have Mookie Cooper, Theo Weiss.
Yeah. And again, we said, see, what I would do is, and I'll say this again in about an NFL team here in a second, I would look at Weiss for yards and catches, and I would look at Burden for touchdowns because that's who they count on to catch the touchdowns.
It sounds like you have some Thursday night football thoughts for tonight.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Very good. Yeah. But, with Burden, that's one, Alex, I've never messed with. Maybe y'all can give me some advice. I haven't messed around with, like, longest receptions, or the one that really scares me is the number of yards in their first 2 receptions. Like, those kind of things scare me, and I've been staying away.
Well, I have some thoughts on the longest reception. Onward, do you ever do any of those kind of all sort of bets or these kind of novelty ones?
Not often. You know when I do it, actually, Alex, I'll do it usually in the NFL, and I'll usually take the less because it takes a while, especially in the NFL, for a guy to get cooking. And so, this, it's not like college where it's one thing to the house. Like, it usually, the first couple of carries in the NFL are pretty predictable. So I will typically take the less for NFL carries.
The only reason I was asking about the Luther Burden, he just has such dynamism, and you mentioned them giving up the chunk plays. I worry. Elko said yesterday on the SEC press media conference call, he was talking about just the challenge that's presented most specifically by Luther Burden, who he said is the best receiver in the nation and who's going to be the first wide receiver drafted. I tend to agree that he'll be the first wide receiver drafted this year, but he just said the problem is if you roll coverage over there, like Theo Weiss is going to kill you, and then if you but he's like, and then all of a sudden, you have Mookie Cooper. If you don't, if you're just paying too much attention to both these guys, he's like, it's a real juggling act to figure out what you're going to do. So I think that leads me to believe that they're not going to be put. I don't think they're going to be putting the absolute clamps on Burden just because they were, he was expressing open worry about those other guys hurting him if they overcompensated with that. So I just think Burden's the type of player that with the longest reception stuff, I find it interesting. I think about him like Rashid Shaheed in the NFL, right? For the Saints, in a game where he actually gets a catch, where he makes a completion, it's usually like going to be over this like 21.5, 23.5 that they always put him at. He's just a big hitter. I see Luther Burden sort of in the same way. So I was just curious about what you thought about that, but it's always.
Another reason, Alex, to think about that over on that longest reception might be, remember, the Aggies lose Chappelle, the corner. Not that they ever had I don't know that any of their guys are truly badass out there, but losing Tyreek Chappelle was big. The Aggie front The defensive front has some dogs on it, you'll notice. But as you go backwards in that defense, it's not they're good. They haven't been awesome at spots. And again, they've given up these chunks. So that 22 yards might make sense. Burton's going to make a play. Burton is going to make a play in this game. The Aggies have got to contain him, control him. By the way, Sandman threw in this chat for a score. I could see this exact kind of game. Sandman, I think you might be dead on. In the 20s, and if you made me pick right now, I'm going to say Missouri is real enough to beat the Aggies. I don't know if they're real enough to do much else. I'll say they justify themselves as a top 10 team this week, and Burden would be a big reason why. I'm
always going with the better, more experienced quarterback. You and I talked about it, Chad, on our show just yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to take the more experienced quarterback with better weapons around him. I think Missouri gets it done on the road, but A&M's a tough place to play, so we'll see.
Yeah, huge opportunity for Missouri to get a little trust back because somebody reminded us, I was right. It was in Columbia. 2 games at home, too. Barely beat Boston College at home, and then you barely beat Vanderbilt. If they go to College Station, I think it'll calm some people down, Alex, about what we thought they were, because we've been waiting to see, is Missouri for real? Is Ole Miss for real? Lane Kiffin helped to show us last week, well, it might be one of those Ole Miss teams. Let's see if Missouri can stand up.
Some other interesting spots around the SEC this weekend. Just the barn burner that everybody's looking forward to, of course, is Vanderbilt versus Alabama. But I always have to circle this, and I always have to go check my Diego Pavia more on the rushing yards. I think they just never learn. They have him set at 42.5. He's going to rush for like 60 yards against these guys. That's a total lock. And I'm wondering do they have one up for Ryan Williams after? That's probably super high after last week. I don't 70. Gosh, 72 and a half. So,
yeah.
Does PrizePicks do a number for how many times the broadcast says he's 17 years old? Because if I could get like a 3.5 devil on that, I'd go over. I might go more. Let's go more on that one.
Alex, I have a 99.5 devil for Williams.
I mean, dude, he can.
He's going to do that against Vandy, isn't he, Anwar? At Vandy?
How long do they keep him in?
Yeah. And are they paying attention, fellas? Well, let's see what this DeBoer team does off of a tough game like that. Crazy emotion of Georgia. You're going to, and it's a mid-afternoon kick. They're playing at the exact same time Texas just did, the 3:15 SEC network game. And Nashville's going to be flat because that's what it does. Like the Vandy crowd, it's never going to be some nut house, right? So will they, need a little time to get going?
The play that I think of in this game and a lot of other games, honestly, like the Milrose of the world, this is now where you start the Heisman campaign, for a guy like that. And so I think now when you're looking at guys who can be in contention, you got to start compiling some numbers for your guys. And so I'm looking at like the Milrose of the world, or I'm looking at, Jackson Dart maybe having to rebound. Like anybody who might be in the Heisman conversation now as this conversation is getting started, I think that there may be an attempt to pad some numbers to get some little bit of things. So I would be really the Milroe number. If you even just look at where he's at, I think I had it up. I don't have it up right now.
233.5 for the passing yards, 301.5.
Yeah, I mean, he threw for 374. And I tell you what, the other number of Milroe that I like is the touchdowns for him. I mean, he has scored. He's pretty much scored at least he scored. Let's see, 3, 6. 10 passing touchdowns and a couple, 8 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's doing pretty much 2 and 2 a game. So anything from Milroe from a touchdown perspective, he seems to be a guy to go to. So I like the touchdown. I like the more for most of his touchdowns as well, especially if you get him rushing.
I put this comment up from Paxton. The Boise State running back, he's at 188.5. He might hit it, guys. They're at home against Utah State, and he's gone 259, 127 against Portland State. 192 Oregon, 267. So 190, 188.5. I'm not sure I've ever seen a running back that high, man.
Crazy.
They're
Man,
going to
that's like old school running back stuff right there.
They can just give him the dope now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no competition for that award right now. And he could go for him of just a pedestrian, like 100 a game for the rest of the season, and he'd still be a lock to get it.
Here's another question about a quarterback. Anwar brought him up. Would you guys trust anything on Jackson Dart at South Carolina, or is that game scary enough?
Good.
Right? Are they scary enough to stay away from Dart?
What is Dart? What is his projection on here?
I'll be honest. I hadn't looked up. Dart. I'm guessing
Dart. They have him at 287.5.
Woo, 287.
They got a devil on his 2.5 passing touchdowns. They have him at 25.5 rushing yards, which seems maybe a little bit low if they're going to try flushing him out of the pocket. I mean, he usually goes for like 30 something. Okay, so he's going for it's probably about right. 27, then -8 versus Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee.
36, and then 22 versus Kentucky, who's another good.
They're so tough because they can put up all kinds of offensive stats and still lose a game and then still not look good doing it in a way. So I don't know. That's one I'd probably stay away from. I'm interested to see if South Carolina can pull that off.
Almar's theory, though, about Heisman stuff. Hey, Cam Ward at Miami. He's in that conversation. He's the number one hot pick. He's at 303.5, so it's a big number, but he's gone over that all 5 games this year, right? And they're going to want to pump him with some stats. They're playing Cal. I mean, that's a big number, but he goes over it every time. And like Almar said, this is the time of year where you're trying to that's a late game, actually, Saturday night, 9:30.
Are they traveling to Cal? Is that
in Cal? So it is in Cal, a late game, but
they're going all the way over. And Jason, remember they played the Thursday nighter against Virginia Tech. Those players are going to feel like it's been a month since they played when they actually get on that field.
Yeah, but they're going to be so high from all the weed smoke that's out there in Cal and that stadium. Like, they're not going to feel a thing, man. Like, they're going to go through it and like, man, I'm floating, man. I'm good. Like, it's a hell of a. I've been there. It's a hell of an environment, man.
No Cal, baby. No.
Do you guys have any idea? You guys have any lines or angles on Thursday Night Football tonight before we get out of here?
Since I am a Bucks fan, I will.
Bucks Falcons. I believe it's in Atlanta, right?
It is in Atlanta. That is true. In being a Bucks fan and watching Baker Mayfield learn who his weapons are and what they do, the last 2 times I've played Godwin's passing yard or receiving yards more, it's hit. The last time it was only by about 6.5 yards, but the time before that was a 58.5 number, and he hit 107. So going down the field, Baker seems to trust Godwin to get the yards, but when they get in the red zone, if he's going to throw to someone, his name is Mike Evans. So I usually lean towards Mike Evans for touchdowns and Chris Godwin for yards.
Godwin was a discounted taco play, so I'm on it. It better damn well hit. I don't remember what it was discounted to. He's at 67.5. I like that at 67.5.
Yes.
I like Bijan more than 29.5 receiving, but I'm taking Bijan less. I'm already on the Bijan less rushing play, which was, let me see, under 62.5. I'm taking Bijan less, but I'm taking him more as a receiver in this game. Godwin, the discounted play, Chad, on Tuesday was 42.5. So I only need 42.5.
There you go.
Godwin. So
yeah, and I don't trust that Atlanta coaching staff yet to go more. I'm with you, Jason, to go more on the Bijan rushing. I still don't think
they go with the hot hand whenever Tyler Algier only had like 2 less opportunities last week than Bijan. I mean, Tyler Algier's good. People forget before Bijan got there, he had a 1,000-yard season as a rookie. So he's not a bad player. My suggestion would be, if you are interested in making tailing Chad's play there with the touchdown stuff for Mike Evans and the yardage stuff for Chris Godwin. If Chris Godwin gets there with the yardage and Mike Evans gets there with the touchdowns, we could probably look at, is there a Baker Mayfield fantasy score? Because he could be getting
17.5, Alex.
I mean, he's going to get to 17.5.
He's gone over it 4 out of his last 5 games.
So I mean, that's just a way that you can correlate your plays, and
but you got to have somebody from a different team.
You need to get less right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're making the decision that like,
You
okay,
got
I'm
3
right
Bucks
about how it's
guys.
going to go with the wide receivers. If it goes like this with the wide receivers, they're going to bring their quarterback along.
Yeah,
But you've
and by
got
the
3
way,
Bucks players. You have to have one player from. It could be a college player. It could be
Right.
a League of Legends, whatever the hell you said. That it could be anything, but it has to be somebody not on the Bucks.
What I did, Jason, with those 2 Bucks picks is I paired that up with Jaden Daniels of Washington. It's 213.5 on passing yards, and I went more. He's facing Cleveland, and he's been looking good. So I'm going to say he gets 214 passing yards or more.
And then just as far as the running backs, how are you handling Rashad White and Bucky Irving? Or is that completely hands off? Because that's been if you have Rashad White in fantasy, this Bucky Irving stuff's been a straight nightmare. It's really hard to project.
I've been staying away. I've been staying away from those running backs, Alex, because I haven't quite figured it out. Just when I think it's going to be a little more of White in the run game, they're throwing more to him out of the backfield. And then just when I think, oh, maybe Irving's going to take over a little bit more rushing, then they'll start handing it to White. And so that part I can't figure out. And so that's why I've been kind of focusing in on the receivers. I feel like I'm getting what Baker's thinking of with those guys, but running back wise, I don't know what they want to do yet.
Chad, am I crazy? They've got Bucky Irving, longest reception, 6.5 yards. That seems easy. How many catches does he get in a game? They got his receiving yards at, let me see. Oh no, they've only got him at 7.5 receiving yards. So I guess he's not getting as many.
I want to tell you it's like 2 or 3 a game, but it may not be quite that many. Because again, just when I start to think he's that weapon, then he'll either just be running and it'll disappear. So I don't know about the running backs or tight ends. The running backs and Otten, I don't know how to quantify it right now because I feel like Baker focuses on the receivers.
I was trying to pull up my ranking sheet model here so I can tell. I don't think that the season averages are going to be indicative exactly of how it's been for the last 3 games. But as far as what Bucky Irving's doing, so he's gotten two targets per game on the season, 1.5 receptions per game. So I think that's ticked up a little bit over the course of the last 3. But yeah, I would say if you're playing something on the other side, Darnell Mooney has been like the PrizePicks is not factored in his involvement in this offense. And the way Kirk Cousins, if you just go back in his career, he's just elevated his wide receiver 2s to levels that they hadn't been at before. And Darnell Mooney is in that kind of spot right now. His is sitting at 46.5. I haven't projected as closer to 60 yards. He's gone way over 46.5 in the last 3. And so Darnell Mooney would be where I would go the higher if you got to get in an Atlanta Falcon. Jason said he likes the Bijan less on the rushing, higher on the receiving. Anwar, do you have any other takes on this one before we get out of here?
No, I don't think none of this. All I'll say is, Jason, I need you to start getting your NBA season predictions ready.
Right. Yes.
You hit last year in the San Antonio kid. I
got to start watching preseason NBA games because that was a gimme on
Yes, I'm gonna need you to do your good work again.
I will watch some NBA.
Having those things have to sit in my account until the 4th of July, dude. It's like, or eat past the 4th of July, man. It's tough, dude.
It's Christmas in July, Alex, because all of a sudden you're like, man, I haven't played anything in a while. It's like, oh man, you're just waiting, and there it is. It's a payout.
Yeah. Hey guys, I put in a yards more on passing yards for Connor Wigman before the season started. I'm just waiting for. Well, maybe not.
I did one on Trae Young, so
and then every time you go to your lineups page, it stays on there because it's still open. It's like a big pool you have right there.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. I also put one in on Quinn Ewers. I need that one to crank back up. So Quinn, I need you to have a nice day in Dallas.
Yeah, man, and we need all you guys to have a nice day as well. Thanks so much for tuning in to Orange Bloods Live. Remember, we have House Divided. Chad, I'm assuming you guys are still on for that with Catch's health, and we'll see what happens.
House Divided at noon. It's a headache for Catch. He said he just couldn't stare at the screen. I don't know if that's a comment on the 3 of you. I'm going to leave that alone. But he says he'll be ready to go at 12, and Brian Jones of CBS Sports will join us at 1:20 to talk about Iowa and Ohio State, among other things.
All right, there you go. That should be a good time. Then we'll have football with friends at 6, the final football with friends of the week, since Cody and I will be traveling tomorrow. So it'll be a final takes Thursday on Football with Friends. So a bunch of great programming coming up here on Orange Bloods Live. Make sure and stick around. Make sure and use that promo code Orange Bloods at PrizePicks. Play $5 to get 50 instantly. It's the best. It's the best promo that they've had since we've been working with them. So make sure and get it done. Scan the QR code. Go make some money. All right.